Hi everyone and welcome to class. So in today's tutorial, I want to show you guys how you can make um, the navigation menu, the two types of navigation menu, and also how you can do your scroll prototype. Okay, so this is about how you can do, these are the two types that I want to teach you today. One is the one that gives you the first one gives you the underline or stroke when you are hovering over the menu or you click on the menu to go to another page. And then the second one is the one that just highlights the exact page you are on. So let's just dig in and get this done. So the first thing you need to do is we're just going to take, let's take this as our default menu. And then we just create a frame here that would show us what we are doing. So we just paste this here and we're going to change each of these. First of all, we're going to take out the auto layout because we applied auto layout on all of them. You right click and then remove auto layout, you right click again, and then you ungroup. So now we have them looking like this. We can also give this one a stroke and maybe give this one a color. Okay, so it all depends on how you want to do it, but let's leave it as it is. Then we come here, we're going to change it from semi-bold to regular. Also, this one can also be regular as well. So this is what we have. Now, for each of these menu buttons, all you need to do is you're going to make each of them have an auto layout. So it's going to have kind of like a button frame for each of them. So you just click here and you hold shift and press A. Okay, come to this one, hold shift, press A, come to this one, hold shift, press A, this one, hold shift, press A. So now they all have this button feel, but they are not looking really nice as a button. So what we do at that point is we are going to select all four of them, and there's something called padding. We have the horizontal and the vertical padding. So when you come beside this, you're seeing something here. These are the paddings, the horizontal and the vertical. It's always advisable you double the one by the side, okay, which is the horizontal. Okay, now how do you do that? You select all four of them, you come here, you make vertical padding, which is the top side. When you come here, you're seeing the one selected. So you change the vertical to 8, hit enter, and then you change the horizontal to 16, and then hit enter. So now that we have it looking like this is more like a button. So we also do the same thing here. Change this one to 8, and also change this one to 16. So they are all of the same size now. So we select all of them and we come to this part that says more options, and then we use our tidy up. Tidy up helps you space your objects or your text when you select each of them. It spaces them equally. So we can now change this to 16, which is the spacing between each of these. So another thing we can actually do is we can now give these things a corner radius. We can give each of them a corner radius of 8. And now it's time to start duplicating so we can create the different variants of this so we can prototype. So how do we do that? We select all of this. Okay, you can first of all group them and then you add auto layout. So now you do your shift A. So we've added auto layout. Now you can see this. So you hold alt, click, drag, drop it here. Hold alt, click again and drag and keep it here. So if you want to duplicate more, all you have to do is you now do your Control D. It will automatically duplicate as much as you want when you keep tapping Control D. So let's leave it at this quantity right now. So this first one is going to be our default. So the first one I'll be teaching you is how you can do the hovering so that when your mouse enters, there will be an underline. When your mouse enters this one, it will move to this one just like that. So that's the first one. This first one is going to be the default. Okay, it's going to be the default screen. Now, the reason for this default screen is if you have other pages that might not be the home, about, pricing, and register and login. Let's say you have a page called blog. You can actually put this one in the blog so that when somebody hovers from that blog into these ones, it can change. So here, this one is going to be, we're going to change this one. We're going to increase it, the style. We're going to increase this one as well. We're going to let's select this, select this, select this. Okay, let me do it one at a time so we understand. So this home, we're going to make this home. We're going to change it from this to semi-bold here, because this one will be placed on the home page. So the next one, which will be placed on the about page, we come here, select about, and then we change it to semi-bold. Come here to pricing. Come here to pricing. Okay. We come here to pricing and we change the pricing also to semi-bold. Come here to register and we can change register to semi-bold, or we can give register. We can give register a stroke so that you know when your mouse comes over it. So we're just going to change this to 3, and then we're going to change the opacity to its 50, because I think this is 50. So here we have this in place now. What do we do next? We are going to select all these variants. These are different variants because they are the same thing, but they have a little alteration or a little difference, but they are all for the same purpose. So they are variants. This is a variant to this. This is a variant to this. So we select all of these. I always advise you create a duplicate. So we hold Alt, click, and drag here. So now that we have that, we select all of this. We're also going to, okay, before we do the next one, let's come here, up here, click here and say create component set. Now they are all about to be used for prototyping. So we now move to our prototyping. So here we click on prototype and we say, if at all somebody is on this page, let me take all of these out, and they hover, when your mouse enters the home. Okay, another thing we were supposed to do here is, let me use this one for this other side, okay? The one without the stroke. And we're going to use this other one and we're going to add stroke to this one. So our focus is on this one right now. Okay. So I'm going to reverse this. And I can leave this as it is, or I'll just take it out as well. So I'm just going to take this one back to regular, and let's leave this one. Let's take this one out. Take out the stroke. So now we're going to add stroke to each of these ones, because we want, when somebody's mouse hovers on the home, there should be a stroke under. But we're not going to use this stroke. We're going to use this side, this one that says strokes per side. So we now select about, select pricing, and select register. Then come to stroke, and then we open the eyes. Sorry, not this one. We go to this and we say bottom. Okay, this one already has a stroke. That's why the effect is happening here. So let's take out that one and add stroke to this. And then we now change this to bottom. So this is what we have now. When your mouse hovers on home from any point, it will show this this underline, and also this one will be placed on the home page, this one will be placed on the about page, this one will be placed on the pricing, while this one will be placed on the page. So we come here and we say when, go to your prototype, and you say when your mouse hovers over home, change to this. You change it to while hovering. Also while here, you can say when your mouse hovers over about, change to about. When mouse hovers over pricing, change to pricing. Remember to always change it from here. Untap. So before we start this, before we start this prototyping, we need to add all of them and create them as a component set so that they all function together. So I'm just going to undo those things I just placed now. And the first thing you do is you can see that they are all on their own. And this is showing scroll to. But what we're going to do is we're going to select all of these first, and then we come up here, click here, and then we say create component set. Now they are all a variable of each other. This one works also the same way with this one. So here we say when someone clicks on home, change to this one. Let's use hovering. When your mouse enters home, it changes to this. When your mouse enters about, it will change to this while hovering. When your mouse is on pricing, it will change to this. When your mouse is on register, it will change to this. We do the same thing here, but this time you're picking the ones that are not selected. Okay. You can also add a special effect to this one. Maybe change the color here, give it a field color. Let's give it a color, maybe blue or something. And this is what we have now. Let's give it this. If we have this, then we have to change this to white. Okay, so we change this to white, and it will be FFFFF. Now that looks better. We can also change the stroke as well to white. FFFFF. Hit enter. So this is what we have now. We now start our prototyping. We now say, okay, when somebody's mouse hovers over login, please change to this and highlight login. So we do the same thing here, but this time we're picking only the ones that are not selected. So we select about and say when somebody's mouse is here, when you are on the home page, because this will be placed on the home page. This, when somebody's mouse is here and it hovers over this, change to this. Always remember to change it to while hovering. This one should also be while hovering. This one should 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 be while hovering. Okay, so now that we have all of these things in place, the next thing we need to do is we come to this one, select here, do the same thing while hovering, change about to this. When your mouse enters here, change it to this one. Okay, while hovering. Always remember to switch it to while hovering. Then when you're on register here, when your mouse enters, change to this, change it to while hovering. And when your mouse is on login, while hovering, change to this. So you do the same thing here. Home, while hovering, should show this. While you are here, about, while hovering should show this one. Change it to while hovering. Then we move to register, while hovering, show this one. And then we move to login, while hovering, change to this one. You can see there it says change to, and it says smart animate, but you can actually make them to be instant. Okay, now we come to this other part now that says home. This one, this one will be placed on the register page. So when it hovers over home, change to this. When it hovers over about, while hovering. So when you hover over pricing, change to this one. And then when you hover over login, change to this while hovering. Okay, so this is what we have now. And we now move to this last one, which will be on the login page. We now select home, and we say when your mouse enters here or while hovering, highlight this, which is while hovering. About, when your mouse enters about while you're on the login page, while hovering, change to this. Pricing, we do the same thing for this one, which is here. While hovering, should change. And then the last one, register. When your mouse hovers over register, it should change to this one. So the essence of this one is we have created the change interaction here. So all we just need to do now is take each of these ones, like this one is for the home, about. So we are taking this 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I'll just copy, Ctrl C, and let's pick this thing to be this one should be our home page. So I'll delete this. This is H, so I'll paste it here. So we are leaving the one for home here, so I'll take this one here and drop it here. The next page is our about page, so I'll just copy this about or drag it and take it to our about page and delete this one. So I'll just place this one here, which is A. Let's confirm the position of this. 906.63. 906.63. The next page is our pricing page, which is P. So we copy this one, and then we can take this one out, delete 903.63. 63. And then we have 2 more. One is our register and then one is our login. So we move these 2 this way and quickly create 2 screens for them. So we just come here, we duplicate, click, drag. This one will be our login or register, while this one will be our login. So we change this to R, which is for register, and we change this one to L, which is for login. So we just move this one here, or we just delete that, leave this one here, delete. So we have 903.63, place this here, 903.63. So we go to this other one because this is for register. So register is highlighted. We now delete the one for register here, take the one for login where login is highlighted, and we say copy and we say paste to replace. Now we've replaced that, we can now delete this other one. So we have our home page, we have our about, pricing, we can delete this. And then we have our register and we have the login. So what do we do at this point? Remember, we have done this already here. So all we need to do now is we say when you are on the home page, which is when you highlight this now, any effect you do here is going to take effect here. So we say, okay, when you are on the home page and you click on your about, the interaction is already here. When you're on the home page and you hover over this, the image is going to change. So let's present this one and see. So I'll select that, then go to prototype, go to show prototype settings, change this to none because it's going to be a web view. And then I'll select it again and present. So this is the first one. You can see when your mouse comes here, it moves to about. Let me make this bigger. When your mouse comes here, it moves to about. When your mouse goes to this, it changes to pricing. When your mouse goes here, it changes to register. You can see them. See how it's working, but we've not prototyped the clicking. So when your mouse comes here, it changes to this. You can see all of that. Now we come here. At this point, all we now need to do now is we go to this part and we say when you click on this, take the person to the home page, which is this one, and that's H. We say on click, navigate to this. Then we select our about. Remember where the about is highlighted, which is this one. We select about and say when it is clicked, on click, navigate to this. We come to the one where pricing is selected and we say when pricing is clicked, take them to pricing page. When register is picked. Now the reason you're just picking the one that is highlighted is because at every point when your mouse hovers, the interaction has already changed in between here. So you only need the one that actually is highlighted. So we just go here and we go to login and say when it is clicked, take them to login. And that's simple. We are done with that because every major interaction now happens inside here. You can see all the interactions. So let's go back to our design. You can see when we are here, you can see the hand. It has changed. The cursor has changed to a hand. It changes, changes, changes. So when you click here, it has taken us to about page. This is about page now. A. The previous one we had was home, but now we are on the about page. Now we need to prototype the interaction between this about page, about menu. So here, while we are on the about, which is this, you say when your mouse hovers, change to this while hovering. When your mouse hovers over pricing, we are not going to prototype this one because we are already on the about. When your mouse hovers over pricing, change to this. When your mouse hovers over register, change to this one. When your mouse hovers over login, change to this one while hovering. So you check if you've done the same for every one of them here. You can see we skipped this one. Every other one has been done. So we just come back here and you can see that when we now hover here, it has the effect now. Okay, so now we are on the about. Let's go to pricing. We click on pricing. We are on the pricing page now. We click on register from here. We enter the registration page, and then while here on the registration page, we click on login. It takes us to L, which is the login page. Okay, so that's how you get that done. So this is the first type. The next one I want to show you is the one that is a bit kind of let's say easier without all these interactions flying inside here. All you just need to do is you have to highlight each of the menu and then you have to take each of them. Like this one now that home is highlighted, we're going to copy this one and go and place it inside our H, which is the home. So we're going to paste this one here, paste here, and we're going to move it. Let's move it to this side. Then we come back for the about page. We copy this one that is about, copy, and then we paste it for the about page. Paste here. This is our about A. We now come to pricing. We copy the one for pricing, paste it on our pricing page. Sorry, Control Z. Paste here for our pricing page, and then we copy the one for register. Paste it on the register page, and then we copy the last one where we highlighted our login. Okay, where we highlighted our login. You can actually give the login a different feel. Select it, hit I on your keyboard and select here. I, and then select Sorry, not the border. Control Z. I guess it doesn't have a fill. So we come here, activate the fill, and then we hit I. And that's when we can now change the fill, also change the font color. FFFFF, that's white. So now we have copied for, let's copy for register, copy, paste it for register, okay. And then we copy for login. This one we pasted on the login part, which is here, paste here. So now I'm trying to show you the two types of menu that you can easily use for your design. So here we have the position is 100. Let's make it 1000. 100 and then 1000. We do the same thing here. Select this, select this, select this, and then select this one. Come to X, change it to 100, hit enter, and then come to Y and make it 1000 and hit enter. So we have all of them now on the same level. So you can either prototype this one from here, but I'll advise you do all your prototype from where you have your variants, your components, which is this. So all you do is you simply click on home, select only home, go to prototype and say when somebody is anywhere around here and they click on, since you're already on the home page, you don't need to highlight home page. You need to select these other ones. So when somebody is on your home page and want to go to the about, you select about and click, bring it here. Come again on the same level, select pricing, take it to pricing. Come again on this same one that is on your home page. So if we go back to the home page now, you see that when you click, we have prototyped only these two. That's why we're having this blue blinking when I click. We are yet to prototype these two. So how do you do that? You now go back, come to this same line, select register, pick this plus sign and take it to the R page. And then you come to this last one, the login, and you send it to the login page. Now, this simply means that when anybody is here and they click on any of these, you can see that all of them are functioning properly now. But if we go to the about page, we have nothing prototyped. Now we've moved to the about page. You can see that about is now highlighted, but nothing else has been prototyped. So we move back to this other part. Now this one is for the about. We select home, take it to home, on click, make sure it is on click, navigate to, okay? Now we select, you can select about because we're already on the about page. You select pricing, take it to P. You select register, take it to R, and then we select login and take it to L. So this is kind of like easier than the interaction we have inside here. We come to this one, which is for pricing from home, anybody that clicks on it, while on the pricing page, we are prototyping these buttons now. So if somebody is on this page now and you've not prototyped these other ones, let's move to the pricing page. You will discover that we can't even move out. We can only move to home from here because we just prototyped home. So let's now move and prototype the rest and do the final prototyping before we call it a wrap. So this is the about, and then the register page, we drag and move to R, and then the login page, we drag and move to L. So for this other one, this is the one on the register page, which you can now give a fill. Let's give it a fill and change the color so that you would know that you are, let's make it I, click here. So when you're on this page, you know that you are on the register page. This effect we did now is visible. This effect we just created now, if you come here, you see it has taken effect here. So we now come here, we start prototyping, and so when somebody is on the register page and click on home, go to prototype, take them to home page. When they click on about, take them to about. When they click on pricing, take them to pricing. And then when they click on login, take them to the L page. You cannot prototype the R because you're already on R. So we now do the same thing for the login menu. This one to home, here to about, here to pricing, and then when they are here and click, takes them to register. So this will make everything function now. You can see everything is moving. We're moving from page to page. Observe here. We're on the login. We're on the register. It's also changing here. We are on the pricing because we place these individual ones. This is the about, and then this is the home. Okay, so this is how you do the two types of prototyping. They all function. We've done all of them. But this is the one that swaps. You can see it's changing. Okay, pricing, P, about, home. So these are the two types of menu navigation prototyping you can do. All right, guys. So now that we are done with these two types of navigation prototyping, this is the first one that shows when your mouse hovers around, it changes to this, and this one is the one you prototype directly, but you place each of these ones in the individual frames. Okay, so now that we are done, let's simply head to the next type of prototyping, and this one is called scrollable edge. Okay, it's called scrollable edge, and I'll just simply pick this one. Okay, pick this and come here. I'll place it here. So this is going to be where we are going to test our interaction. Then what I'm going to do next is I'll just move this one out, and then we go to frame, click on frame here, or you hit F on your keyboard and you select, I'm using iPhone 13 and 14, so I'll simply select iPhone 13 and 14. So this is what we have now. Okay, this is going to be used to create the scrollable effect that will be placed in this one. So right here, all we need to do is, this will not be the same height, so we can actually reduce this one to, let's say, 500. Now this is what we have, so we just drag this down a bit and place it here. The next thing we do at this point is we're going to give it a corner radius, but it will be just at the top. So we select independent corners, come here and select 24, hit enter. And this one for the top right, we select 24, hit enter. So it's looking this way now. And we can just rename this to scroll bar. Okay? Or scrollable edge. Let's use scrollable edge. Okay, so now that we have this in place, we now need to place some things inside them before we can proceed. So we hit R on our keyboard to select rectangle, and then we just click and drag, and we let it be just like that. And here we are just going to give it a corner radius of 8, so it's going to have rounded edge like this, and then we're going to centralize that. And let's make sure the distance between here to here, maybe let's say 12. So we just place that at 12. Now this is what it's looking like. The next thing to do is to add your text. So we just select text, come here, click, and you can just write news. Or you can just say, yeah, let's leave it at news. So that news, we can now give it maybe, let's give it medium or semi-bold, whichever one you choose. But let's give it medium. And let's make sure the distance between this and this, when we select both of them, make sure the distance between both of them, let's use distance of 24 at this first time. Then you take this to the right and make sure it snaps to your grid, your layout grid. I don't want to apply grid here, but we know that the the gutter and the margin between here is 16. So we just come to X here and just type in 16 and hit enter. It takes it to the edge. Okay. Now that we have this in place, let's simply just add a rectangle. Let's add a rectangle, but I want us to add a layout grid to this so we can easily add things without stress. So I'll just come here, layout grid, select here, change this from grid to column, and change this from 5 to 4. Change our margin to 16, and also change the gutters to 16. So this is what we have now. Come back here, hit R on your keyboard, or you select rectangle. Come here, and we're going to create this lovely looking frame to look like an image from our newscast. And we place this here. Okay, and now that we have this in place, we check the distance between them, make sure it is 16, and we can have another one here as well. So we can just put something else here, and let's put a different shape, rectangle here, duplicate that, shift this, and sorry, Control Z, Alt click, and this, Alt click, drop here, Alt click, and drop here. So we have all 4 of this well spaced evenly, and we check the distance between this and this. We have 20, so 4 steps forward. So we can just group this, Control G, and we select this other one by holding Shift and click, and we change this to 16. Now that we have this here, we can have a little text below, or we can just duplicate this one. So we hold Alt, click, and drag, and just drop it right here. But here we just type this one, let's name it more, or music. So this is what we have now. Since we have this in place, we are just going to select this at this time, and then we right click, come here and hit on this button that says frame selection. But if you feel you are unsure of what you're doing, always create a duplicate by holding Alt, click, and drag. So you have a spare backup there for your design. Okay, so now that we have this, we just come here, select this, right click, and then we click on frame selection. Now this frame selection places everything here inside. You can see all these things we've designed, they are all inside a new frame. So we can just call this new frame box or main container, or let's call it scroll container. So scroll container. And since we have this now, okay, the next thing to do is we select this. Observe that the clip content is not visible. So you have to leave it like this because we do not have any overlap here. Okay, if you have any overlap which would show, let me just show you something here. You can see that if you come here to this scroll container now, sorry, I'm trying to, if you bring this out from here, this one has the clip content showing. So you can see what's happening. And when you go and place this one inside here, it's still going to be visible because none of them have the clip content activated. But when you come to any of them and activate the clip content, it hides any other excess there. That's what clip content does for you. So we just simply bring this one out, and then we'll just do Control Z till we have it back in place. Great. So now that we have this, what we need to do is, this is a fresh frame housing our scrollable frame. Okay, you can see that over here, this is our scroll container, and this other one we have inside is the scrollable edge. And when you are on this scroll container, when you drag up, you can see what's happening. Okay, But before you do this, you can, or even though you've done this and it's like this, all you need to do now is you hold Shift and press A to add auto layout. Now that you've added auto layout, you just need to come here, and this is the constraint proportion. You just come to this down one here, middle, align, bottom, center, and then you just click. It will automatically bring this thing down to the center and at the bottom. So when you move this way, this is what happens. So as we proceed, now that we have this in place, we can now duplicate this. So we just hold Alt, select this frame from here, hold Alt, click and drag. So now we have a duplicate copy. But in this duplicate copy, this one shouldn't be as high as this one. This one should be reduced. Okay, this should come down. So what do we do at this point? We select this frame, which is this one, the scrollable effect, this scrollable edge. Make sure it is selected, not this container. Select only this. So when you come here, select this. Then you go to this part that says absolute position. You click on it. This would release this content for you. Now you can move this content to the position you want. So at this point now, we want to take it down. And the way it's coming like this, I want us to, before we start scrolling down, remember we have activated our absolute position. Let's activate our clip content so that we don't get confused, okay? Clip content hides the excess. Look at clip content here. If you have it activated, then moving this thing, it will hide the excess coming out below it. So it automatically hides any excess within the main container. But when you select this one now and you uncheck, let's uncheck this clip content on 3, 2, 1, go, click. You see, this one still reveals everything, and you might get confused if you are moving this thing. You might not really know, you might think you're dragging the entire container. So always make sure you activate your clip content for the main frame. So this is what we want it to look like. And yeah, want it to look like this. So at this point now, we have this, and when someone scrolls up, it's going to look like this other one. So let's do a little design on this this part of our screen. So I'll just select this text, put it here, and then we can change this one to update. Now that we have that, we can just have we can have text. Let's just place our text there using lorem ipsum. Or we can first of all have an image here. So let's take this one, hold Alt, click and drag. We place this here. Centralize it, and then we come here, make sure the distance is 16. So we just change this to 16. And now we want to make this stretch a little more, so it will look different from this one. Then we want to add our text. So we come here, select lorem ipsum, and we select text. So we're just simply going to move this aside. Come here and select the size we want the text to be placed in, and we want it to look this way. So it's going to be contained inside here. Make sure your settings are okay. Let's change this to regular 16, and then we say generate. Now that we have our text here, we can now add justify to it to space our text properly. So this is what we have now. Having this in place, let's add a little more design to make it really look different from our scrollable edge. So here we have this 1, 2, 3, 4. Distance between this and our text is 15. We take it down one step, take this one down one step. So we have this now. So we are going to duplicate this so it will look, it will be scrollable, and we are also going to see what happens when we scroll on this effect. This is our scrollable edge. So we are simply going to create another one like this. Hold Alt, click and drag. And you can see that this, Control Z, you can see that this one already has, this frame already has clip content activated. So if you still want to see what is happening below there, you can just uncheck and then come here. So let's remove the clip content so we can see what we are doing. Select this, and then hold Alt, click and drag. So we drag this down until we have a distance of 16. Make sure it is centralized as well. Make sure it is well centered. And we can let it go there. You check the edges. There is an overlap somewhere. So what's causing the overlap? This one. So we just drag this and drop it here. And go down to this other part. Drag this one. And make sure it snaps to our grid here. So this is what we have now. And I want this one to look totally different from the first one. So I'll just delete. And I'll stretch this one to the middle here. And I'll delete this one and stretch this one to this point. This is to make it look totally different. So here I'm just going to write this one classic. I want it to have a different look from this other part. So here I'm also going to remove part of this. Let's take out from here, delete, and then we select this auto width, auto height to reduce the height. Auto width is the other one that stretches. So now we need to have a distance of 16. You can do this manually, or you change it from the edit corner right there. So now that we have this in place, all we need to do right now is we're going to come here now and clip our content so that it's going to hide the excess flow we have here. So we just click. Good. So we are done with our mobile news page. So right now we just come back to this one and we're going to select these two, select this and select this. And then we come here and select this component arrow, drop down arrow, and we're going to pick create component set. This is where we're going to add the interaction between this and this. So what do we do at this point now? You select, make sure you double click and select only this, not the entire frame. Select only this one. Okay. Now go to your prototype panel and you can pick any of the plus sign around the selected scrollable edge frame. So we just drag it to this one and we say on tap. You can use on tap or on drag, or you can also use both of them. So here we are just going to use the two of them. The first one will be on tap, smart animate, ease out 300. Okay, we are also going to repeat it again, click and drag here, but this time it's going to be on drag, smart animate, ease out 300. Now we go to this other frame, make sure to double click and pick only this one, not the entire big frame. Just pick only the scrollable edge, come to the plus sign around it and drag to this one. And the first one can be on tap, smart, and change to smart animate, ease out. Then we also come again and repeat it the second time, and this time it will be on drag, change to smart animate, ease out. So now that we have that in place, all we need to do at this point is let's take this out and let's simply just click on this one, copy, and let's paste it here. So this is going to be placed right inside this box. So we just click and drag the entire frame. So click and drag and then place it here. Make sure it is well placed such that you can see the plus signs. Okay, when you drag it in, make sure you see the edges. The edges should highlight some red marks at the edges and the cross sign at the center, so you know you have properly placed it. Another thing we can also do is we can remove this, we can remove the view of this layout grid by hitting Shift G. It's going to take that out. So this is what our design is going to look like. Now, also remember that you can also change the names. You can always change the names of these things. Okay, this one can be named, the entire frame here. This is where you can change the name under the current variant. Okay, under current variant, property 1. This first one is called default, so you can call it closed when it is closed down. Okay, you hit enter, come to this other one, select the entire frame, and this one will be, you change the name to open. So we've named it, so we don't need to get confused. Okay, so let's present our work and see what we have. So you just select here, go to your prototype, make sure you have the type of device selected, and this is iPhone 14. We select and then let's present. Now, you will not be able to scroll on this. You cannot scroll because you have not activated your vertical scroll. Okay, on this, remember you clicked the content and we still have some excess around here. But when you test this, you can see what's happening. You can see the effect of this design we created here. But one more thing is we need to go and activate scroll with parent for this part. So we just go back here, select this one. Before we do that, before we place this one inside, we are just going to simply move this out. Check if this one is fixed. This one says scroll with parent, which is this our notification bar. We change it to fixed, stay in place. We check this one. This doesn't have a frame, which is wrong. So we can actually create a frame to protect it. So we are just simply going to hit F on our keyboard, come here at this edge, click and drag. Let's have a frame that would guide this one. The reason for this frame is if you do not have a frame and you start scrolling under, it's going to have these objects struggle with this one. So, okay, let's scroll first and then we'll come and apply this. So I'll just do my Control Z and we select this frame now. And then we go to our interaction here and it says no scrolling, but we can now change it to vertical. Okay, remember I brought this one out. So let's check our design and see if it is going to scroll right now. Guys, you can see it's scrolling, but our menu button is scrolling alongside everything. So let's put this menu button fixed. And then when you check it again, you see that these objects will struggle with this, just like I mentioned. But to keep that checked and so it doesn't happen any further, you just hit F on your keyboard, come to this side, click, drag. I didn't get the edge. Hit F, click, drag. I still didn't get it, but we're going to move it up a bit. And then we can just drop it here. Normally, this was supposed to be done before we started designing, if you really want to have a frame protect this. So, but let's just remove that, and the height of this one is 52. We can have another frame of 50 or 52. So let's just hit F. The height is going to be 52 and the width is going to be 390. So we just have this here. Change this to 52 or 50, and then we can have this make sure the distance is 16. Hold shift, left click 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now we can just drag our frame back inside here. Great. Now that we have this in place, make sure it snaps to the edges. Great, just like that. And then we select it, go to prototype, and we say fixed. So this should be fixed as well. This also is fixed. Now, if you come back to our design and you scroll, you can see what's happening. But there's a little space behind. So we just select this and hit direction one step up. And this is what we have now. Beautiful. So we can now drag our scrollable edge, which is this one. We drag our scrollable edge and place it right inside. Make sure it snaps at the edges and you see the cross sign to show it is well centered. So let's present our work now and see what we have done. So we just come here, click. You can scroll here. Now that we've placed this one, you also need to keep this still, like static. So we just pick this and bring it in here and drop it. And it says scroll with parent, but we don't want it to scroll along with the parent. We want it to stay fixed. Okay, so we now come here, and when we scroll, you can see what's happening. Select this, select our text. So I'll just pick this one, shift this aside a bit, and I'll select everything we have here. First of all, remove the clip content so I can pick everything. Come here, select this, hold shift, this, and this. Or another thing you can do is you create an entirely different frame. Okay, you can create an entirely different frame and place this inside. So we're going to have a frame with height of this. So we'll just hit F on our keyboard. We come here, click and drag. Remember the distance should be, the width should be 390. For the font we are working with, and the height should also accommodate this. So we just select everything here, and then we can drag it inside this frame. Well centered. So now that we have this frame on its own, we can now have a copy of this frame. I'm just showing you how you can solve when you have situations like this, but this time we're going to delete everything here because we already have it in a frame. So we delete everything here, delete, and then we drag this frame and bring it in here. Now that we have it in here, we can now click content. Control Z, we bring out this one, and then we click our content. Delete. Let's click the content. I'm seeing -1 somewhere. Okay, should be from here. So now that we have that, we can now clip our content. Clip. And then we can now have, now that we've clipped it, let's present. Let's present this. So this is what we have now. You can see what it looks like. Okay, if you want this part to show properly, because we're going to have a default home navigation bar here, all you need to do is you extend that frame we added here. You give a little extension. Now this extension is giving room for whatever that will be here. So let's just give enough extension, and we now take it back inside. Drag this up, make sure it snaps, and then we check it again. So now you can see we have enough room here. Okay, now that we have enough room right here, the solution to that part where this frame remains somewhere close here is for you to place everything inside a different frame and then create extra room for this. You can see that when we now take this one here and we now drag it into this frame and then place it at the center, make sure it snaps properly. Ctrl Z. Make sure we drag it and it snaps right at the edge. Sorry. Okay. Drag this, bring it in, make sure it snaps. We see the signs at the edges, and this one now is the scrollable container, and we want it to be above this frame. This is the frame we just created, but we want this scrollable container to be above the frame. So we just click here and drag it over this one. So now we have our scrollable container in the exact place we want it to be. Okay, so let's go back to our design and then refresh. So we need to place that, fix that in place. So we go to this and says shouldn't be fixed, stay in place. Great. So you can see now we have our design here, and you can scroll properly. This is the update. You scrolled, everything is working fine now, and we have enough space. That was why we added a little extra room for this in the new frame we created, and this also works really fine as well. So another thing we can just add is we can just put our, what do you call it, a frame, the home navigation bar should be 390, and then we can have something like this. We can have something like this, or you just hit R to create yours here. And then you can give it a darker color. And then we also give it a corner radius of 8 and centralize. So I'll just select this and place it in here. This entire frame with the rectangle is supposed to move above this, and it is well positioned now. We just come here and return all these things to where they were positioned before. You can even change the fill color so it will be noticeable. So you just come here, select this, and you give it a different fill. So let's give it a different fill color of, let's say we're working with blue. So we can give it a different fill color like this. Maybe something like this. Just to make it look different from this other one. So we copy that color and then apply the same color here. Or when you select this one, you hit I on your keyboard and you select here. So this is what the color is going to look like now on our device or design. So this is what we have now. On click, it works, and it also works with on drag. All right, guys. So once you are done placing your content, this is the content. You can see we have the content here. Once you're done with the content and you have applied, let's say you did not create this separately and your content is just on its own. So let's ungroup. Let's say you have your individual content on their own like this. Okay. All you need to do at this point is you select everything here. All right. And then you right click and say group selection. Now it has placed everything we have here inside a single frame. Now that's not all. This frame is not going to do everything that you want it to do. You can place it in here and do your scrolling. Yes, you can place it in here, do your scrolling. Select this, come here. You can do your scrolling, but look at this part now. There is no allowance where our scrollable edge is going to be. So we need to adjust that. Okay, the scrolling is going to work, but this is not all you need to do. So we just simply go back to this and then we pull this thing out. Control Z, we click on this inner frame, which is this small one, and we pull it out. Now that we've pulled it out, we need to create a little allowance where this is going to fit in. So we just come to the base and then we click pull, and I think this is enough to create a room for this. So when we take this thing back in, when we drop this back in here, remember to always check, do the horizontal alignment and also check the distance between this and this. We have 16. So when you test it now, you're going to see that there is allowance now. You can see the allowance here, which the scrollable edge is going to fit in. Okay. So we simply just come back here, bring it out again, and then we're going to create a different frame. We're going to create a frame that it will be placed inside. So we come back here, select frame, and we're going to use iPhone 13 and 14. So we drag this to this point. But remember, we already have something here, blocking here. We have something blocking here. And we also have something here. So you're just going to pick your ruler. Let me take this one out. You pick your ruler from this top. To activate your ruler, you just hold down Shift and click on R on your keyboard and bring it to this point. You can zoom in to see. And you also do the same thing. Pick your ruler and take it to the down part. Zoom in and make sure it is well placed. Now that you've done that, you can just simply click on this, adjust this part, and also adjust this part. So we have a frame that would comfortably fit inside here without overlapping into any of these. So we now take this frame, which we have created from our content, and we give a little allowance. We now pick that frame and then we take it and drop it inside our new frame. Okay, so now that we've placed it inside here, we can just get it to this point, making sure that we have a distance of 16 on the top. Okay, with that in place, we can now just pick this frame. We pick this one, and then we select prototype, and we are going to activate the scroll in here, vertical scroll, so that this content inside can scroll freely. Now that we've activated the vertical scroll for this frame, we can now drag this frame into our main mobile device, and we can take out this ruler. We can now take out this ruler, and let's present our work. So you select the frame and then you click on present. Now you can see that we have our design scrolling easily, and we have that allowance, which is very good. So everything is perfect now because this content has been framed, and we also place it inside a frame that is of this height from here to this point. Okay, so now that we are done with that, we can just simply now bring in our scrollable edge and place it exactly where we want it to be. And we want it to be placed here directly above this. So now that we've placed that, we simply go to our design. You can see it is now here. So when you scroll here, this frame is working on its own right now. It has no business with this, our scrollable edge. Okay, so the essence of that framing is to make this content stand alone. So this content is standing on its own. This menu is standing on its own. Our navigation bar is standing on its own. And this other one is standing on its own. But 1, 2, 3 are attached to the frame directly, while this one is a frame on its own. What am I saying? This is a frame on its own. Our content inside is a frame on its own, while these other 3, 1, 2, 3, are attached to our main device. So we pick this one and we take it back in. Make sure we place it properly, and then we also take this one and place here. So now we test what we have done so far. You can see we have everything scrolling properly, and this one also is working on its own without doing that jumpy kind of effect. So we missed out a step where we added an extra frame to protect everything here. So now everything is working on its own. This one is on its own. This one also works on its own. So it works on click or on drag, whichever way you want to do it. It's all up to you. So you can see everything is working perfectly. So guys, don't forget to subscribe for more videos. See you in the next video. Cheers and bye-bye for now.